good to have championship racing back. It is so good to have the big names.
I don't think I ever feel ready for what's coming.
Your muscles hurt, your lungs hurt, it hurts to breathe.
You can't run any harder, you can't swim any faster.
You just got to mentally battle yourself, not physically.
Pain just means you're giving it your all, you're reaching your highest potential that you can possibly hit, and to me that means you're doing it right.
They are underway and into the water. Georgia Taylor Brown, she wins stage 1 of the triple mix. The Eagles picked up 25 total in the opening stage. Look at that crowd. It is so good to have crowds back. It is so good to have championship racing back. It is so good to watch it unfold.
Oh, there's a crash. There's a crash at the back. Georgia Taylor Brown.
Jess Learmonth races with a heart on her sleeve, and she takes out the very first championship race of 2021.
Winning is a victory. This is a feeling money can't buy. There is no better feeling.
We are into the water. But look at that, 3 sharks off the front. Hayden Wilde does it, he knows he's got the short shoot. It is so good to have championship racing back. It is so good to have the big names. 2 sharks, a scorpion, and a cheetah, but the 2 sharks come across the line.
Hayden first. Hayden straight around him. Oh, he is punting.
Here comes the shark. Out of the water for the last time. 1.6 kilometres to go.
Yeah, he's going to take it.
Here we go. Hayden.
Now he's going to
He's into the lead. Vince is putting in absolutely everything behind him, but it's not going to be enough. The Falcon is going to fly in London.
Yes, after a brilliant tactical win for New Zealand's Hayden Wilde and victory in her debut Super League for Jess Limon, we have headed to Munich and the stunning surroundings of the Olympiapark here in Bavaria. There was talk there might be some lightning here overnight, but I can say that's not been the case. It was all focused on a tennis court in New York, and the sun is shining, and we are ready to go here for stage 2 of the Super League Triathlon Championship Series. Now, it's not long till we get to the time trial, but we just wanted to get a few quick thoughts of former world champion Chris McCormack here with me today about Jess Limon. She's already had an incredible season, or a summer incredible year. What do you think we're going to see from her today?
She's such a momentum racer. She came off our award-winning arena games and found quality form against the same athletes that we're racing here, went to win an Olympic gold medal, dominated in London. We had some disappointment from Georgia Taylor Brown, or some unluckiness. She'll be very, very tough to beat on this course. It's built for her. Expect her to be right up the pointy end.
All right, looking forward to seeing that. Macca, of course, one of the founders of Super League Triathlon as well, so we've got to let him big up some of these performances that the tournament has been achieving as well. One of the innovations that they've included has been the teams, and as you can see, the team leaderboard here, Team Eagles are storming ahead, well clear of the field, Team Eagles, and that is basically down to those women who've done so well in London. Jess, of course, we already mentioned, Vicky Holland and Taylor Spivey, and it's not long to go now until they will be heading out for the time trial. So let's get you to the commentary box.
Thank you very much, Kate. A week after Super League Triathlon made its long-awaited championship return in London, it's time to do it all again, except we're going to do it completely differently this time. A fast-flowing course, incredible surrounds you can see here in the shadow of the Olympic Stadium and the Aquatic Centre, where Mark Spitz made history by winning 7 gold back in 1972. And a new format that will test the best, the equaliser. This time we start with a time trial. 2 laps around the course, 2.4 kilometres, all with time lost to the leader to be paid for in the second element of the equaliser, which is a swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. First across the line wins. Discipline points are paid on the TT for the bike and in the first swim and run for the other legs, with a single short shoot won by the first across the mountain line at the end of the opening swim. And it is time to get the time trial underway, and we start with our wild card from Germany, the 25-year-old Annabelle Knoll. We also have a German wild card in the men, Simon Henselert, who has some Super League experience, but Knoll is on debut, 31st in Tokyo, 6th in the mixed team relay, and she'll be the first to take on this course. And it is a tricky little one, very fast as well. They go through a 30 or 300 metre section, and then we hit a big hill. Second out was Ilaria Zane, who missed the opening round, but Gillian Sanders did not. there is Sanders, and she starts as well. So 10 seconds between each athlete, and it's going to be fast and furious racing. Our fourth athlete, she picked up 5 points in the swim and in the bike in London. It is Victoria Lopez, and they're all out on course, and she is behind the motorbike as she heads along the fast, flat section before they hit the cobblestones. And we're going to get some intermediate timing coming in very, very soon. Of course, it's only 2.4 kilometres. And if you want to get a bit of an idea about the bike course, we made Richard Murray go out and have a crack at it, and geez, he relished every minute.
I'm Richard Murray, and this is the time trial here in Munich for Super League Triathlon. Let's get this. This is the start of the bike course. Athletes are pumped full of adrenaline. They're getting on top of the pedals super, super hard. They're going through the section here. They want to try and get as low as they can going through this part here. Athletes get no time to rest because there's going to be a sharp U-turn coming up. A lot of speed coming in here. Try and head out as wide as you can, and you stop on the pedals coming up the section. 300-meter climb here onto the cobbles. Gets pretty rough here. Athletes are going to climb up hard on the pedals here. They're going to try and put hurdles into other guys' legs maybe. Olympic Stadium on the right side, not shabby. We're going really fast here. Be careful not to go into these trees. There's an off-camber piece here. Careful not to come down this section. Try not to lay the bike down, and coming through here, second time they head through to finish the bike section. So this is a crazy course, and this is the most awesome time trial ever. Woo!
There is a look at it, and there is plenty of tough sections as we welcome Richard Murray and Chris McCormack into the commentary position. Macca's got a light sheen of sweat. You can't see it on him, but he's just had a bit of a run into the commentary position as Non-Stanford takes on this course on screen. I can tell you, before we go to our commentary team, Annabelle Knoll currently at 152. Ilaria Zane crossed in at 157, so Knoll is leading at the moment. Chris McCormack, it looks like a beautiful day, doesn't it? You've been outside. I haven't had the chance to be outside. Beautiful conditions and no lightning as we talked about.
It's very, very humid, Will. It's hot. You can feel the heat really starting to rise, but it's more humid than we expected. You can tell the rain was going to come. It stayed away, but it's brought with it huge humidity. But watching Richard's bike lap there, it doesn't really do it justice seeing it on screen. This section up here over the cobbles is a really, really tough climb. And coming off a fast section, they lose a lot of their pace. So it'll be difficult. I'd be running wider tyres, Rich, do you?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you want the wider tyres. Yeah, the course obviously gets rougher as it goes up the climb here. And here's Simone Ackerman just coming through this tight section here. So we want to get all the speed, as you said, Macca, and they can literally keep that speed going up over the cobbles that kind of crests over at the top. But yeah, it is very, very bumpy at the top of that piece.
All right, tough conditions. It was humid in London as well last week. Some dealt with it better than others. There is Anna Godoy in the background. And we follow Ackerman there, and I can tell you currently with the splits, a lot of them have finished their first lap, and Victoria Lopez currently leads. She had a 1:48 in the first lap, ahead of Rachel Clammer, Annabelle Knoll, Emily Morier, the former under-23 world champion from France, in the first wave. And there is Yuko Takahashi up and getting some power out of that tight corner, but at the moment, Lopez is leading from Clammer, Ackerman, Knoll, Godoy, Emily Morier, Valerie Barthelemy, Gillian Sanders. Ilaria Zane was 9 seconds back on the first lap. Takahashi, 9 seconds. And Non-Stanford, 10 seconds. And Non-Stanford really hasn't had the championship series that she would have liked so far. She figured early in the stage 1 racing in London, but fell off quite quickly. And there is another person who needs to really step up her game. That is Cassandra Beaugrand. And Macca, we didn't see what we would have hoped to have seen from her last week.
She knows there's a lot on the line. I had a chat to her about this time trial going in. She's a little nervous, very nervous about the cobble section and the descent on the far side. She needs to have a big ride here. She needs to chase that short shoot. In order to get that short shoot, she needs to be in the top 5 on this bike ride. She's going to feel the pressure. You can see it on her face. A big performance on the cards now for Cassandra Beaugrand.
All right, the splits have already started to come in. You can see them at the top left of your screen. Victoria Lopez has laid down a 3:49. Don't forget, all the gaps you're seeing on screen right now will be paid for in the swim, bike, run pursuit start, which is the second part of this equaliser. And at the moment, Lopez is the pace setter. with a 3:49 from Valerie Barthelemy. In second position, Gillian Sanders, non-Stanford, has dropped down to 5th, with Clammer then coming in with a plus 3.2. As some of the big hitters hit the course right now, there is Beth Potter, who was part of a British dominance in London last week.
Taylor Spivey. This course suits the lighter riders. As you come off this back section up the climb with Sophie Caldwell on screen now, they can get some momentum off that top climb and use the descent. So this first lap is probably so critical. Well, it's not probably, it's very critical to set up that second one. You need to get over that climb fast. Katie Zaferis on screen should be very strong over this course as well.
Yeah, I definitely think, this really, really is important. This is kind of your make or break part of the race right here. Heading onto the swim, bike run twice after this. You definitely want to try and be as fast as you can be out of all the girls, so you can get into the water and you can get into that swim group.
Georgia Taylor-Brown, who was unbelievable in London, a bit of bad luck when she dropped the bike, had a crash. She still finished second. She was the form rider, I think, in London. She loves this course, having spoken to her this morning. And Jess Learmonth.
There is your championship leader, Jess Learmonth, who took the full 15 from 15 points and helped the Eagles to a very healthy 93 points across the course of last weekend's racing. She is an absolute monster on the bike, and you can expect her and Georgia Taylor-Brown to lay down some very, very quick times. 3:49 the mark at the moment. My timing sheets have Emily Morier at 3:46. We'll keep you updated on that as it unfolds. And Sophie Caldwell, another one who's capable of laying down an absolutely blistering bike leg. And you can see already the caps there. So that was 9 seconds at the beginning, and it is less than that now between Sophie Caldwell and Taylor Spivey. As Spivey hits that off-camber left-hand turn we saw Rich Murray hit. And we're seeing some athletes' time getting gobbled up, and that is Cassandra Bowe-Grant getting overtaken.
By Maya Kinma.
Yeah, Maya Kingma's definitely, she's a really strong rider as well, and you can see she's really getting low here in the front end of the bike, and yeah, she is one of the strongest riders, really.
Cassandra will be rattled by that. She knew that Maya was up behind her. She had 9 seconds, and she wanted to hold her off through that first lap, so she was expecting to be caught over the top of this section, so she's been caught early. She needs to hang tough here and try and tag Kingma all the way over this climb into the descent to finish that second lap.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see that the gap here between the first and last person is about 16, 17 odd seconds, which that's going to be a huge deficit diving into the water after this time trial.
Yeah, it certainly is, and expected to string out more than that for the likes of Anna Gador, Yuko Takahashi, Ilaria Zane, when people like Sophie Caldwell lay down their times. Don't forget that the 90-second rule will be in effect. Swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. You, at any time, on any lap, fall further than 90 seconds behind the leader, you will be eliminated at that point. There's no waiting around till the end of the discipline. You are cut straight away. And I think that's Vicky Holland on screen.
She looks very good.
What about a race last week from Vicky Holland? She was fantastic. We didn't talk about it too much in the lead-up. There's so many great British women, but Holland, coming off the back of a monster commentary gig at the Collins Cup, turned up under the weather and had a fantastic race.
She looked like she was having fun. Speaking to her after the race, she said, I had a ball out there. It always feels good when you're at the pointy end, but she's in good form. All the Brits are coming off London or coming off the Olympics in great form. They're all hyped after the big performances in Tokyo, and they're the form athletes without question coming here to Munich.
Yeah, no, 100%. You definitely, the athletes coming from Tokyo definitely, are the most experienced and the strongest ones out of the field. And here's Georgia Taylor-Brown as well. She should have a pretty good overall time trial bike. What do you think?
Oh, she pedals well. She's pedaling over this cobble section. She needs to keep the cadence up. She needs to make sure she doesn't wash out that speed over the cobbles. The cobbles are much wider than it looks on screen. So I saw them very, very concerned about getting the front wheel jammed as they came over the cobble section. And she kept that cadence up to keep the balance and keep the momentum running forward. She looks great on the bike.
On my timing screens, I've got Emily Morier at 3:46 with Maya Kingma at 3:48. So we haven't updated on the graphics just yet. Victoria Lopez has actually dropped down to 3rd position from Barthelemy, Clammer, Takahashi, Noel, Stanford. But it's updating all the time. And there is the pain face on Vicky Holland as she comes in to transition. Great crowds out again. The restrictions are actually a little tighter here in Germany than they were in London, but it hasn't stopped the fans here in Munich. Huge triathlon city, as there is the distinctive Phoenix helmet of Katie Zaferis coming in. We barely picked up her at all. There's so many cyclists out there in these conditions, and there I think, is Jess Learmonth to come in.
It's such a tight circuit. Is that Jess? It's such a tight circuit, 2.4 kilometres.
It's really good that they actually finished the time trial here. They didn't need to do that U-turn, so they didn't have to go full speed pretty much into the finish area.
So the timing is updating as we speak, but Morier leads on my screen from Kingma, Lopez, Caldwell and Barthélemy, who had a great ride from Klammer, Takahashi. Holland 9 seconds back, Zefiris 10 seconds back. Potter, Knoll, Stanford, Spivey, who is 14 seconds back from Beaugrand, Ackerman, Godoy, Sanders, Perriot and Zane, and we're going to crack straight into
Martin Van Riel.
And Martin Van Riel.
He will rip this quarter
last week. He missed last week because he had COVID, of all things, but he is back. He is a huge biker. Expect him to set a huge time and have everyone else try and chase it.
He had a tumble yesterday on the testing of this course. He dropped the bike as he came into transition on the first lap. He's ripping through this. He posted the fastest time amongst the unofficial times yesterday amongst the lads training. He knows that this is a very, very important time trial, and he thinks he can win this.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there, Macca. He is really, really strong. You can see him giving it everything. He's using his shoulders, using his head. He's using everything he's got here just to try and, muscle those pedals over.
World number 2, finished second in Edmonton a couple of weeks ago. 2-time Olympian, finished 4th at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, and he does it all off the back of a huge bike leg. And he was out this morning. I saw him in his multicoloured kit taking a few, and there is Matt Hauser. Last time he was on the bike, he ended up with a flat tyre after picking up the full 5 points and getting out of the swim first. So he'll have sweated on that for the week leading up to this one and want to lay down a big one, the Australian, after being stuck in Australia for a couple of years. But Van Riel, first time around the bottom end of the course, and he uses every bit of it. Tough little corner, that one. It's sort of a double apex we saw on Richard's course preview, and it's off camber as well. You've got to make sure you're confident in your bike skills. But no one's going to catch Van Riel out there early doors. Kenji Nina behind him, who was strong early last week, but then dropped away significantly as they cross the timings through transition for the first time. We'll get some updates, but right now we're going to head down to Annie Emerson, who's got Emily Morier.
Emily, did you expect to get the fastest bike time on the course?
Yeah, great. I don't know before you. So I'm training so hard in bike, and every day I say, okay, try your bike, because in triathlon you must to be strong now. It's a modern triathlon. Also girls show if you don't push the pace in bike, if you don't have many quality in bike, it's difficult after to have a great run.
2 seconds up on Maya Kingma, and you've got, Jess Learmonth and Georgia Taylor-Brown behind you.
Yeah! Oh, great! No, it's so great to understand you, for the spirit, for the mental, and to continue, because it's not finished, it's just the first stage, so it's incredible, this game, and it's really a great game for me. I like this format.
We'll let you go and get warmed up for the second stage. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. See you.
Thank you, Annie. And yes, there is confirmation. Emily Morier will finish 2 seconds ahead of Maya Kingma. Jess Learmonth 4 seconds back with Victoria Lopez. A further 2 seconds back to Sophie Caldwell, Valerie Barthélemy, Rachel Klammer. Georgia Taylor-Brown was 8th overall. Yuko Takahashi 9th. Vicky Holland 10th. All of them within 10 seconds of the leader. Katie Zefiris, Beth Potter, Annabelle Knoll, non-Stanford. Taylor Spivey is 14 seconds back. Cassandra Beaugrand, 15 seconds. Simone Ackerman, Anna Godoy, Gillian Sanders, Leonie Perriot and Ilaria Zane, 21 seconds in arrears as they head into the women's second part of the equaliser. But the men are out on course right now, and Martin Van Riel laid down a 1:40 for his first lap.
That's quick.
And he has been bested by Jonas Schomburg and Max Studer.
Wow.
Wow, that's really... I thought they were going to go under 2 minutes, but 1:40, that's impressive.
Wow, but to be bettered, Martin Van Riel will be disappointed with that. You saw Matty Hauser ripping those pedals off to get up that climb. He's got a lot more weight to carry to get over the top. He should use that downhill. But interesting to see Martin Van Riel not leading.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, here comes Mario Molla just cresting over the top of the hill here as well. And Taylor Reid just behind him. Looks like Taylor Reid's pulled a few seconds into him too. So it's going to be very, very close here. I mean, Hayden Wilde is also going to be one to watch out for here.
Hayden Wilde picked up the 5 points, as you can see, last week in the bike, with the fastest bike over the mountain line. He also did the same thing with the run, and he's also got the pink jersey for the leader, so he has a choice of colours he wants to wear. Martin Van Riel's crossed the line in a 3:32. Simon Henseleit behind him by just 1 second, the wild card from Germany, who's raced before, of course. He raced in Malta a couple of years ago. Kenji Nina was 6 seconds back with a 3:39. Tamas Toth 13 seconds back. And we'll get some more as they come across the line, but already 13 seconds separates the 4 that have crossed. So 21 seconds separated the women, and the times are coming rocketing in now. Schomburg's dropped a little bit in the end. He went out very hard, as he tends to do, and the second wave of the men's begins now. Wow, they come fast and furious, don't they, Mako? We don't muck around here at Super League Triathlon, as Aaron Royal takes off ahead of Alessandro Fabi, and the 2 cheaters are out.
And they're going to be pursued by some serious talent now. This is the business end of the races, and they know. You saw them this morning in breakfast. Everyone was talking about this group that are coming on screen now, the next 4 riders, what they're going to do. Jake Birtwistle, one of the names that came up. If we go back to Hamilton Island, he won the TT in Hamilton Island. A very, very good bike rider, but felt a little uncomfortable going over this course. He was concerned on this far turn coming in so hot, and it was very slippery yesterday, so he got a bit spooked.
Yeah, I think Seth Ryder's should be the following one coming up after Jake Birtwistle here. But there are definitely some strong riders here. Here comes Alex Yee as well. He's also going to be pretty good for this course. It's got a bit of a climb as well on the hill, so this will also suit him to a degree.
This needs a big ride for Alex Yee. He's got to put it all in on this bike. He cannot lose the time. He's got to chase that short shoot. The short shoot will be earned after the first swim, so setting that up with the advantage off this bike ride is critical to give yourself any chance of winning the short shoot by winning the swim. Johnny Brownlee, he loves it.
2 men left to go out on course, and it is Vincent Lewis and Hayden Wilde, who duked it out at the back end of the triple mix last weekend. And there he is, the Falcon, the last man to go off. Absolutely dominant in the end. He got the short shoot and he made it count. And out there on course, already 15 seconds between your current leader across the line is Max Studer of Switzerland from Martin Van Riel, Jonas Schomburg. So Van Riel came back in the second lap. Kenji Nina, Simon Henseleit, Matt Hauser, Taylor Reid, Mario Mola, 11 seconds in arrears, and Yannick Schaffler. But there is plenty of talent out there on course who have yet to post a time. Not least of all, that man in the purple of Michelle Dillon's Sharks.
He loves this.
Enjoyed his week. He really enjoyed his week after that performance.
And he loves this course. If we go back to London, he gave both Vincent Lewis and Jake and Johnny Brownlee about 4 seconds going that last stage and rode across them. He's got 9 seconds to make up on Vincent Louis here. Not make up, but he's given 9-second start to Vincent Louis, and he wants to get across as quickly as he can, if he can, to get that advantage going into this first swim.
Yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be very, very close here between the likes of Hayden Wilde, Vincent Louis, Max Strude and Martin Van Riel when it comes over the line. What do you reckon, Macca?
I had Martin Van Riel speaking with Vincent Louis this morning. We both thought Martin Van Riel would post the fastest time. We saw him rip through the course yesterday. We were concerned about Hayden Wilde. Hayden's so relaxed. His mountain biking ability and his relaxed nature. He's like, oh, this will be easy. I cruised yesterday. And you know, he's starting to use that mind game against the best in the business in Vincent Louis, and it's working, I can tell you that.
All right, we're going to throw down again to Annie, who's with our clubhouse leader, Max Studer.
Max, you're very new to Super League racing, but you're currently leading the rankings on the TT. How does that feel?
Yeah, really good. Now the second group is on with the really fast guys, so let's see what the time counts at the end. We're happy. Last week in London was already a good race, first race experience. But with the result, I was not so happy. Happy to punch now back, and hopefully in the triathlon, with a little lead within the swim, I can hold on to the first pack and hopefully fight on the last run with the lead. Yeah.
Great stuff. Good luck for the race.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Part of that Swiss outfit who, underneath Nicola Spirig, they all train together with Brett Sutton, and I can tell you that they have been timing their run very well around the Olympics. Had some great mixed team relay results, and Max Studer some good individual results as well. And there is Vincent Lewis, the man with the Phoenix on his helmet. He is up out of the saddle, and behind him is Hayden Wilde, the only other man left out there.
And he's
Taylor Reid's posted a good time.
Vincent's holding Hayden Wilde. I'm just looking from the look on screen. That 9 seconds he has not eaten into it. Maybe a second, but he's riding as hard as he possibly can. He loves that cobble section. He'll work over the top. There's a slight flat here, comes down slightly, a little bit of another cobble section, then that sweeping descent to the finish. He is railing these corners, Vincent Louis.
Seth Ryder goes to the top of the timesheets with a 3:28, so he's put 2 seconds into Max Studer. Martin Van Riel bumped down to third, ahead of Jonas Schomburg, one of the local hopes, with Vasco Velasa putting himself into the top 5 as well, ahead of Simon Henselin. Good racing from Aaron Royal as well. And Alex Yee's there 10 seconds back ahead of Matt Hauser with Alessandro Fabian. Jake Birtwistle hasn't had a great one. He's down in 16th spot with Mario Mola just ahead of him.
Yeah, he'd be disappointed with that, Jake. He knew he had to have a big ride. He was looking at the course this morning. He looked at it heavily yesterday. He was all set up on this bike ride. He'll be very disappointed to give that sort of advantage to the athletes in front going into this swim, bike, run.
Yeah, and Hayden just came in. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what his time is. This is really going to set up the race to see who dives in what position.
So you can see there Hayden Wilde in 13th and Vincent Lewis in 15th. I don't think that is necessarily correct just yet. We're going to wait for our confirmation of the times to come in. Of course, they take a couple of laps across the timing mats, and we'll find out very soon. But there's no time for Emily Morio to bask in her brilliance because she's about to get underway in the swim, bike, run. So it's an awkward little amount of time to rest, isn't it, Macca, to go probably 10 to 12, 15 minutes and then straight back into it and into the swim.
Yeah, they were concerned about it. The women actually probably have it a little easier. The body's warmed up. They've been able to, just finish the bike. The men now have to sit down and wait for the entire women's race to finish. So what the men are going to do between now and the race start will be interesting. But right now, if you're Emily Moreira, she didn't think she'd be in this position. She was hoping to be in the top 10, so she's 9 places better off than what she was anticipating. She's got some serious swimming power behind her. The instructions to all my Scorpions, a bit of bias here, was to get the short chute if they're in the opportunity to get it. They cannot let that short chute go. So the short chute will be given to the first athlete after this swim to cross the mountain line with their bike. And that is the shortcut that they can take on the last run. So that bike was so important because of this pursuit start.
All right, the crowds are building here to watch the swim, bike, run for the women's and then the men's. But let's have a look right now at the official times for the men's equaliser, and Seth Ryder does it for the US ahead of Max Studer and Martin Van Riel. So Seth will be on his own early doors in the swim, bike, run. Jonas Schomburg, Vasco Velasa, Simon Henselin. So 2 home hopes in the top 6. Aaron Royal, Alex Yee, Matt Hauser, Alessandro Fabian. No Hayden Wilde in the top 10. No Vincent Lewis in the top 10 either. And I think Hayden Wilde will go off 13th, 10 seconds back. And Vincent Lewis 11 seconds back, and we head down to Tamas Tot, so 17 seconds crosses the line.
That is incredible. I would not have predicted that at all.
Never have called that.
No
wow,
way.
That is insane. Wow, I thought I would have really picked Hayden Wilde and Vince to be right up there in the pointy end, but it looks like, the good swimmers, I think that one big thing here is you want to see where the good swimmers are here because they're the ones that can, make that 10 seconds up, no problem in the swim.
Martin Van Riel's close enough to the front to grab that short chute and give himself every opportunity to win this round off that big bike ride. That's exactly what the equaliser's about. Using a strength on the bike to give yourself an advantage going into this swim, bike, run.
Yeah, it's similar. I think Maya King was also going to be pretty with
tough.
A good shot here for the short shoot, as well as probably Jess Learmonth would also be in quite a good position here.
Jess just off Maya. It's only a 300-metre swim. It's a tight swim. But the difficulty, and you can see it on screen, is the run down and out of the water. That's a long climb. It's sort of stepped. A lot of the athletes were deciding whether to go to the left, which is all grassed, very, very slippery, or come up the stairs. Talking to Emily and most of my team, they're opting to run down the grass as they enter the water, but will run up the stairs as they exit.
All right, there is your first woman into the water. Emily Moray will start 2 seconds ahead of Maya Kingma. Jess Learmonth, who is such a supreme swimmer and everyone will be looking to get on those feet, is 4 seconds back with Victoria Lopez, who won the swim last time around, and it's time to get underway. Here we go, ×2 non-stop, 300 metres in the swim. It's slightly longer on the bike, 3.6 Ks and a 1.8 K run, and we're going to do that twice through, and Emily Morier is down the grass, followed by Maya Kingma. There is Jess Learmonth. You've got to be brave down here. Victoria Lopez, Sophie Colwell, Valerie Barthelemy, Rachel Clammer down the hill. Georgia Taylor-Brown, Yuko Takahashi, and Vicky Holland. And into the water they go for the first of 2 300-metre swims. Now, Mac has mentioned it before, but the first person back up that hill into transition, gets their bike and gets across that mount line, will pick up the short chute later on, as the athletes at the back of the field, Ilaria Zane, last one into the water, knows already they have work to do. And Learmonth already pushing away to the front.
She's going to move around, Emily. She knows when you get to this first swim can, the same happened in London. You get the advantage of being able to move and have open water, so it's important to get out as fast as you possibly can. And Learmonth knowing that Emily Moreira could create some blockage from the other athletes as she moves around the swim buoys, and they have to move around her. So clear water is imperative, and she knows the short chute is absolutely critical to get. Maya Kinma sitting on her feet in the orange.
It looks like the swim here also going to be a tiny bit longer than in London, I think. It looks like 100 metres out to the first left-hand turn, probably another 100 metres, still 100. And yeah, Jess Learmonth here through to the front, and you can see it's probably like a 20-odd second gap back there to 3 just off there, which is going to be very, very tough to be in that position.
She's got clear water now. You can see them all starting to fight for their feet, second and third position. But Jess is right where she wants to be. She'll come off this turn, start to open up a kick. And now the swim will get very, very quick as they start to find their positions and they're not sitting off each other's hips and slowing each other up.
So, Macca, your Scorpions picked up the full 5 bike points, so congratulations to you. You really needed that too after not having the world's best outing last week.
We were a bit unlucky, George.
Expected more?
Yeah, GTB dropping the bike. There, we're a bit unlucky with Maddie Hauser getting a flat. So there was a lot of instructions. I think sitting with the team this morning and talking about the importance of every point going towards the team points, I think they grasped it now, and that's great to see they did so well.
So when you don't go well, it's bad luck, and when you do, it's good management. Is that how it works?
That's exactly right, Will. Exactly right.
Well, plenty of good management from Jess Learmonth, who's doing the job for the Eagles once again. Tim Don will be very happy about that. He's not on the ground this weekend, but he'll be back, I think, for Jersey next weekend as they round the buoy and head for home. And we're going to see who chooses to go up the stairs and who chooses to go up the increasingly wet grass, as it'll be a bit wetter second time around after everyone's dropped water on there. But Jess Learmonth, for her, it'll be nice and dry. She leads the swim once again, and if she picks up the short chute, she will be very hard to beat in this format. There's no doubt about it.
Well, it's not a foregone conclusion. We talked about this in the athlete briefing. We saw the athletes walking over this section of the course, the exit of this swim. Just because you lead the swim out, there is still a long run to transition and that transition itself. So she's leading the swim right now, but a lot can happen in that run up those stairs to transition.
Yeah, definitely. I think the transition, you saw it from Hayden Wilde in London, definitely. You know, if you're really good at putting your helmet on and you're getting your bike out, you don't fumble there for that little part of time. The short chute could be yours, even though you weren't the quickest swimmer.
So an update to the points. Currently, as it stands, the Eagles have extended their lead, 108 now to 77 for the Scorpions, who've moved into second position over the Sharks, the Cheetahs 66 and the Rhinos languishing on 35. So Ronnie Schildknecht will be not very happy about that. And Emily Morier, well, she swam 13 seconds slower than Learmonth last week, and it looks like the same things happened this time as a train with the 2 Eagles of
Lopez
Learmonth up the stairs and Lopez up the grass.
And it looks like Lopez is catching some time here almost. She might even get the short chute again.
It happened last week. Well, she's got to think about this. If she picks up the points, if she continues to do this and her team ends up winning overall, she picks up $55,000 for the 4 weeks, because if she keeps picking up the swim and bike,
Jess has got
those Jersey leaders, she won't though.
Jess Learmonth has got it. She claimed the short chute.
Got the short chute.
The question is, should you mount there, or should you mount once you get around the corner? Because you might save a few seconds there.
That's a good question. Doesn't matter though, Jess Learmonth has a gap and she has the short chute. So now the rest of the field have it all to do.
This is where Jess Learmonth likes to be, out on her own, clear round this course. She's got no one on her wheel. She can focus on what she does. Her strength is a strength. And this is a very, very dangerous position for Jess Learmonth to be in relation to everybody else, for them.
Yeah, they actually asked whether it was going to be a breakaway course. And I mean, from this point of view, it's very, very difficult to come back on this course. It's a very, very tight course. It's quite a challenging course. So it's going to be, she might even stay away. Who knows?
You saw Holland, Georgia Taylor-Brown. a long way back with Cassandra Beaugrand. So they're a long way from the front, which was very, very different to London, where they were all over the front of the racing.
The Eagles picked up all those points. They crossed the 100 barrier because there was 3 Eagle men in the top 5. Seth Ryder, Max Studer and Alex Yee also all had huge bikes and picked up big points for them. The big losers in the bike, though, compared to predicted times, Thomas Toth was 10 places down on where he was predicted. Jake Birtwistle 14 places down. And, of course, Vincent Lewis, Hayden Wilde as well, as they head up over the cobblestones and up this hill for the first time. And it's 45 seconds across the field at this point, and it looks like Jess Learmonth is putting more and more time into them. It was 7 seconds when they headed out of transition, and it looks to be more than that now as Learmonth takes that off-camber turn to the left, and she does it very well and very smoothly, and she is controlling this race. Has a look back. No, she's got the short chute in the pocket, and wow, she looks strong.
It's a hard race in the chasing pack to get organised in. It's very difficult to swap your turns, which is why a single breakaway is probably advantageous. You're not getting caught up in those tight turns. You're able to use the whole road as you come out of that descent and use that apex turn to your advantage. There's no one congesting your movement forward. And for the chasing group, it's very, very hard to get organised and share that workload.
Yeah, that you can see the gap probably pushed out. I mean, I'm not sure what the gap's sitting at now, but that looks like it pushed out a tiny bit there as well. And yeah, as you said, when you're in a group here, it is very, very tricky. You're slower in the corners, and yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens here.
Well, the train to Jess Learmonth is led by Maya Kingma, and it was 7 seconds last lap round. Now it's 12 from Colwell, Bartholomew, Takahashi, Lopez, Potter, Taylor Brown, Zafiris, and clamour your top 10. Vicky Holland then a further half a second back. 20 seconds separate the top 16, and they're all pushing to try and either hang on to the back of this group or close down that big gap. Points for the Eagles just pouring in from Learmonth and Lopez.
You got Kinma taking up all the front running in that chase group, and Sophie Caldwell sitting off a whirl. That's a bit of teamwork, both from the cheetah team. But Georgia Taylor Brown following Beth Potter up, and she's got onto the back of that group as Potter just at the back of the screen there, jumping onto that front group.
And I think you can see Katie just behind you at the shot through the tree with Rachel Climate just behind her. They want to make sure they get onto the back of Beth Potter's wheel here as soon as they can.
Katie's doing all the front running. She doesn't need to share the workload. The rest of the athletes benefiting from the hard work she's going to do pushing up this climb. Rachel will move up. Rachel's in the best position there, sitting just off Katie's wheel. And Cassandra again drifting to the back. She's really finding this technical bike courses very, very tough.
Yeah, I think this is like a course really suited for this one on screen now. I mean, it is quite a breakaway course if you think about it.
I think Gillian Sanders has had a problem. She's dropped to the bottom of our timesheets, and she's a minute 15 back, and the Eagles just keep putting time in that. That's 40 points now ahead of the Scorpions, who are sitting in second position, as, of course, all the swim, bike and run points have been decided, or they will be at least at the end of the run after this. Also down at the bottom of the timesheets, Leonie Perriot, who's 50 seconds back last time through transition. So tough for the cheetahs there, with Anna Godoy also at the back, but a group of 17 chasing Jess Learmonth.
And I think Cassandra
at a 1:18 pace.
Beaugrand off the back. She's really finding the climb over those cobbles tough. She talks herself out of it. I saw her this morning. She was looking at the cobbles. She was rattled. She was concerned. And you saw on that second lap that gap starting to open up as it went over the top section. And she let that open up. Contrast that to Georgia Taylor Brown, who was on the chase. Maya Kimmer has not been off the front of this chasing group. Sophie Caldwell sitting second wheel.
And you see some of the girls have also got their swim cap and goggles, and their suits are ready for the second swim. So after their last swim, they just threw them in their swimming trunks, and then they'll pull them out and pull them on when they get onto the run section.
Georgia on the front. She's had a great bike ride. She's moved from the third group up into that second with Beth Potter, and now leading this chase punch as Jess Learmonth disappears over the top of that climb.
15.5 seconds back to this group now, that last time through transition. What is it, Macca, about Cassandra Beaugrand? I mean, she's got all the weapons in her arsenal. Is it a confidence thing at this stage with her? About you kind of alluded to that, but you know, we know what she's capable of, and she hasn't shown it in this last couple of weeks, and she's had an up and down 2021, I suppose.
Yeah, when you contrast it back to Singapore when she had that sprint shootout with Katie Zaferis and won that race, she's such a huge talent. She won a bronze medal at the Olympic Games with the French mixed relay team there. But she's come into this racing, it's so tight and dynamic, and you can tell she gets quite nervous on these tight circuits. London was a very, very tight circuit. She was super rattled going over this bike course yesterday. I sat down with her, tried to calm her nerves, but you can just see it in her eyes. She's very, very intimidated by the pushing and the barging of Super League racing. It's not like conventional racing.
We have seen her excel before. She won in Jersey a couple of years ago, and we're heading back there next weekend, so maybe that'll be the weekend for Cassandra Beaugrand, back where she knows she can do the job. It's still a tight course there, though, as Jess Learmonth comes into transition and puts the run shoes on for the first of 2 times. The second time she comes in, if she's in this position, she'll be very hard to run down, and off she goes across the line and picks up more points for the Eagles. She now picks up the 5 points for the run, and there's a whole group behind her who are going to fight it out for the points across this mountain line.
Georgia Taylor-Brown needs a big run here, as Katie Zaferis, who come in back of that group, needs a big run. They all need a big run to close down this gap. With Jess Learmonth's powerful swim, especially that second swim, they need to close this gap on this run, and I would go out early and do it quickly.
Yeah, this run course is also quite tough. There aren't that many races in Super League that have got a punchy hill in it. So I think on the legs, you're definitely going to feel that on the second time coming through. And yeah, it's Taylor Spivey on the front with two of the cheetah teams. So you see in the team classification who's going to take this one from the
Mike Kimmel, Vicky Holland's there, non-Stanford in the purple on the outside, and Beth Potter with the Sharks, the quickest runner on paper in the field.
Yeah. According to our live stat predictions, Beth Potter and Georgia Taylor-Brown, best runners in this group, and should cut the deficit in half to about 7 seconds by the end of this run. And you can see Potter moving up around the outside already, behind Spivey, or on Spivey's shoulder, as the Rhinos are hunting in a pack at the back there. And there is Jess Learmonth up the cobblestones.
Her strength is a strength. She looks great. She loves being out in front. We saw her talk in London about the cobblestones. She's got them again here in Munich.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely looks really in control. I think she's thinking about kind of the next run lap of this one, getting into the swim, making sure she does everything as well as she does. Obviously, she's got that short shoot in the back pocket too, so she's definitely sitting pretty here. This definitely looks good.
Looks like she's shooting a video. She's just running there all by herself. It's a beautiful tourism video of the Olympiapark in Munich, featuring Jess Learmonth and just about nobody else at the moment, as she rounds at the bottom end. And she always looks so relaxed. I think it's because her eyes are half shut. She's just kind of got the eyes shut, just concentrating, as Beth Potter leads
Vicky Holland.
alongside Vicky Holland.
Yeah, to the front again.
Going up. There are all the Rhinos. Takahashi, Clamour, and Valerie Barthelemy. But they
look like they're settling. You know, Beth Potter's gone to the front, but not really pushing the pace. When they move into single file, you can tell the pace is on, but they're still bunched. Sophie Corbell just drifting off the back. I was expecting Georgia Taylor-Brown to take more of the initiative and start to push and eat into the lead of Jess Learmonth. And I thought Potter would push as well, but they seem to be more relaxed, settled in. Maybe they're going to look for a big second lap.
There's some big bikes. Taylor Spivey, the fastest bike split, actually, with a 6:22 from Holland, Taylor-Brown, Stanford, and Simone Ackerman had the 5th quickest bike split, as Potter leads Holland and Georgia Taylor-Brown, Katie Zaferis, non-Stanford, and they can see the gap there. Jess Learmonth gets a look at them as she heads out for her second lap on the run.
Yeah, and I think Katie Zaferis definitely moved up. She's definitely moved up here a little bit, because she was on the back of that group when they started the run.
My Scorpions at the back, Cassandra Beaugrand and Emily Moreira. Cassandra has such a big run. She's capable of halving that distance, halving those losses, and potentially running up. When she's in great run form, she moves so effortlessly, but she seems to be labouring.
The time split out, she's 33 seconds back now. Emily Morier 35, Simone Ackerman 35, and Victoria Lopez has done what she did last time, which is go out there, try and win those points for the team. and then blow up completely. She's 40 seconds back, but she's doing the job, and she knows exactly what she needs to do to get paid and to do the job for her team. So Learmonth, 16 seconds now ahead of Potter, Holland, Taylor Brown, Zafira. So much quality, and they're the same names that came to the fore last week. Up the hill again does Jess Learmonth go, and in the background, the beautiful Olympic Stadium from the 72 Olympics. Potter, Taylor Brown, Zafira, and Holland, and there's a little gap there now back to non-Stanford.
And I think I just saw Rachel Clomber dropping something there. I think she dropped a swim goggles, a swim cap or something, just as they hit the cobbles.
Keep an eye on that.
Katie Zaferis has had an amazing run. She came off the bike last into transition. She's had to do a lot of work. I'm eager to see what her run split is. She's moved through the entire field to put herself sitting there in third, just off Georgia Taylor Brown's shoulder, as they follow Beth Potter, who's really taking the running up now.
Yeah, you can see Learmonth's going to be pulling her swim cap on the downhill, just saving herself, because it's very tricky to pulling this on while you're running, 20k an hour or something, 18k an hour is very tricky. But it's obviously the best time to do it. Pull your cap and goggles on you now instead of doing it when you get down to the swim. Katie Zafir is doing the same.
Super League forces you to do some weird stuff. Run down a hill, put a swimming cap on. Never need to do that in real life, but you do here as Jess Learmonth tucks the ponytail in, pulls out the goggles.
Giving the goggles a lick.
Clean. Plenty of time to do that. And you can see the gap there in the background. It was 16 seconds, so she put an extra 2 seconds on them in that first lap of the run. The short shoot last week was worth around 5 to 7 seconds, so Learmonth is looking very good at the moment, and we're going to need, well, we know how good her swim is, so she'll pop these shoes off and she'll head back down and into the water, and barring mishap, she'll have a good swim and come back out into transition all by herself. You would think, but stranger things have happened.
Set a helmet up.
Yeah, smart enough to do that.
Yep.
You almost threw her shoes into the wrong box there. That would have been interesting.
She's got such a big swim. She must be so confident going this swim. Her second swim is stronger than the first, so she's going in with the lead. Georgia Taylor Brown, a phenomenal swimmer in her own right. But in a match race, it's Jess Learmonth every day of the week.
Yeah, this is even without the short shoot, this would be tricky. I mean, but it's you never know. Super League, things change so quickly. You're gonna have to see if these girls come back on the bike, if they work together. You never know what's gonna happen here.
Well, it was 16 seconds after the first lap of the run. Second lap of the run, 9 seconds. So they have run it back, and it was Taylor Brown and Potter as per the that was close, as per the predictions. And there's the gap in the swim. Learmonth, though, put 17 seconds on the rest of the field in the second swim last week. So she's our best swimmer, and there you can see the race sequence. They've been through one swim, one bike, one run. We do the whole thing again. So 2 triathlons back-to-back, straight off the back of a TT. We make them work for it for $20,000 US for the win, and Jess Limon's picked up 20k last week. Can she do the same this week? She needs to make sure she has a very strong swim here in the Olympia Sea, or the Olympic Lake.
So I think we saw Emily Maria also coming in almost the last at the back, so she won the time trial, but she looks like she's definitely took strain here on that first round.
Yeah, I was wondering where Cassandra Bogram was. I know I keep talking about Cassandra. I'm just interested to know her mindset. She was just in front of Emily on that last lap of the run, but I didn't see her in front of her going into the water. So
on the timing sheet, she's 33 seconds back, with Emily Morio 47 seconds back, so she's still there or thereabouts. She's probably at the top of your screen somewhere now, Cassandra Bogram. The current, or into the water anyway, was Learmonth, Potter, Taylor Brown. So again, and Holland as well, so 4 Brits in a row. Zafira Spivey, so the 2 Americans, Caldwell, Stanford, 2 more Brits, Clammer, Takahashi, Noel, Barthélemy, Bogram, 33 seconds back, as we said. Kingma, who's dropped back a little bit, 40 seconds back. Leonie Perriot, Simone Ackerman, Emily Morier, Victoria Lopez, Anna Godoy, and I think we've lost a couple off the back there, including Gillian Sanders, who have been eliminated. So there's the gap you can see between Learmonth and the chasing pack. Plenty of big names in it, all Brits and all Americans at the moment.
From the drone, it looks like Beth Potter's still leading the swim. I'm interested to see this front-up shot, because Beth's led all the way out to that first swim buoy, if it is, in the pursuit of Jess Learmonth. I thought Georgia Taylor Brown would move wide and try and get into that pursuit and not settle. You've got Katie Zaferis, who's a magnificent swimmer as well.
Yeah, I think you're seeing Katie on the left-hand side passing Beth Potter in the swim, so you just call that right, Mac, and I think you'll probably guess just behind you is probably Maya Kingma or Sophie Codwell in the cheetah suit here. This is a great shot on top here.
Yeah, first swim, Learmonth was 10 seconds quicker than Potter, and Zafiris was further back than that. So, obviously, first swim's very different to second swim under fatigue, but Learmonth could come away with a re-established 15-second lead at the end of this. We'll see when they cross the timing mats.
Yeah,
pace is certainly on in this chase pack. They can't let her get her any further away.
It looked like the chase pack here was just a tiny bit off after that run, and it looks like they've almost managed to get their way back here. It might just visually look like that, but it definitely helps when you jump into the swim that you have that draft factor, which can actually help pulling you together if there's a small deficit when you jump onto the swim.
Is Katie having some trouble with the goggles? She seems to be siding every single stroke, lifting her head up. It's not like a conventional style. You watch all the time, lifting the head up. And Beth Potter with a remarkable swim. She's held her own against three of the best swimmers in the sport.
Yeah, you've seen it in the Super League Arena games as well. That she's Beth Potter. You know, if you put in a pool, they'll be very, very close. Actually, it's quite impressive.
Look at that gap now, though. It was 9 seconds into the water. It's going to be something more like 25 out of the water. If she can get up the steps without any trips or falls. And Learmonth heads up again, back into transition. She's had a very lonely race so far. The helmet goes on, and here is your chase pack. Potter on the right, Zafiris on the left. Behind them, there's Georgia Taylor-Brown and Sophie Caldwell. Vicky Holland, Taylor Spivey, non-Stanford, Yuko Takahashi out of the water, Rachel Klammer. Here's your top 10.
This is a big bike ride required by these women on screen now. They need to close into that gap if they're chasing any chance of winning this race. But even not, with Georgia, Beth in this group, Katie Zafiris, who's like a diesel engine, just gets stronger and stronger as the races go on. That's going to make for an unbelievable shootout for the podium.
Yeah, I mean, this is so impressive from them to go from the gun, from the get-go. And she's got to focus here. She's got to make sure she does all the things right, doesn't make any mistakes here, gets into the shoes. It's always a tricky one. Your shoes coming into this leg, you don't have the elastic bands put on, so you jump on, your shoes are spinning everywhere, and it really does make it hard to get into the shoes.
Sophie Caldwell almost shouldered Beth Potter out of the way then as she came around that turn. As she was transitioning, we've got to go. Katie Zafiris again a little tardy in transition. Georgia Taylor-Brown not looking as good as she did last week in London. Doesn't seem to be finding that flowing rhythm that she had. It's been drifting back and forwards through the groups, and they're all come together here. This is a great chasing group.
Yeah, and see
21 seconds it is. Sorry, Rich. 21 seconds between Learmonth and the chasing pack of around 10 women back to non-Stanford. And that's a fantastic swim. 9 seconds to 21. Obviously, she's put 12 seconds in across 300 metres, and she's done it on her own at the front. So at this point, I mean, what do you think, Mac? Can anyone find a way back off 20 seconds to Jess Learmonth with a short shoot?
Jess Limon, what a lot of the women athletes will be worried about now is whether they're going to fall 90 seconds back. She buried them in that last bike ride. The fatigue's starting to set in. Rachel Klammer struggling on the back. Problem with Ilaria Zane. 90-second rule.
There you go. There's one. Anna Godoy's on the bubble too at 1:31 across that timing mat, so she'll probably be eliminated on the way back down. Emily Morier is dancing with that one, as is Victoria Lopez. They're all put more than a minute back, and Jess Learmonth is not taking her foot off the brake at all. There's your group. Klammer on the back, who's in 10th position. So 9 women working together.
Yeah, you definitely want to try and push up here in the group if you're near the back of the section, because you have that string effect when you come out these corners, and it really, really does make the bike harder than it needs to be.
Sophie Caldwell moving to the front. Beth Potter, like I keep talking about, a great swim. She's been very, very aggressive on the bike, and she is the best runner at this group. She's setting herself up for probably one of her biggest performances of her career if this race goes to plan. Katie Zafiris now starting to apply some pressure.
Taylor Spivey also in there, also putting down some good. Where's Maya Kingma? Is she also still in this group here?
She should have been.
Maya King was
I don't see
off
her.
the back. She should be, but I don't see the orange of the cheetahs.
No, she's gone.
No, she's gone off the back, and that just shows you she's one of the strongest bikers in triathlon.
47
but she's
seconds.
been
47
dropped back.
seconds back. Maya Kinma.
Yeah, that can happen
Wow.
so quickly. I mean, it's in the blink of an eye. She was in the group on the last bike, and I think on the run, it must have been the run.
Really interesting to get the women's feedback on what it's like to ride in a pack on this course. Before the men's race comes up, no doubt we'll hear from Annie Emerson, but it is the Jess Learmonth show at the moment as the Eagles just continue to pile up the points, and there she is. This reminds me of the Super League Arena Games when she was so far in front and she hammered herself for no reason whatsoever, and she had the greatest pain face you've ever seen, and the same thing's happening now, and no doubt she'll sprint to the line and give us one of those great post-race interviews as well. And the interview will probably be finished by the time the rest of the women cross the line.
Yeah,
but she so good to watch her race.
She went through those corners perfectly as well. Also, you know, pedals up in the middle of the thing. She's setting the bike just to watch out the way. Yeah, I'm going faster than you. And yeah, so she should come through here. One more lap of the bike, and then we pull on the running shoes and she heads it onto the run.
So all by herself, the swim splits have just come in, and Jess Learmonth went fastest in that second swim. Swam a 1:14 pace, so 3:42 across the 300 metres. Faster than anyone else. Takahashi was second, with Maya King were also second, and Annabelle Knoll were the other three, who were all in a group together. But Learmonth was out there on her own, and she doesn't know how to let off. Jess Learmonth, and here's our group chasing pack. We can get an update on the splits as they come across the timing mats again.
She's on fire, Jess Learmonth. To ride away from the calibre of athlete in this group, and just looking at the swim splits, she actually swam quicker in the second swim than she did in the first. So set it up even further by belting that second swim.
12 seconds quicker, actually, from the second swim to the first. So
they might
should just add another swim bike run on and see if she can go under 1:10 pace.
It's incredible.
27 seconds is the gap now, and Jess Learmonth is laying down a huge marker for the rest of this month of racing. There's $1.25 million on offer across the 4 weeks, and Jess Learmonth looks like she's going to take a fair bit of that. She took the win in London, and she's going to take an emphatic win here if things continue in the vein that they are.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, yeah, she really does look in control. I mean, she's still giving it everything. You know, don't get anyone wrong. She's putting it all out there, and her technical side of things has gone so well here. She takes the corners, and Katie here on the front working well with Taylor Spivey. They're definitely just trying to keep her at bay. You know, it's a very tough thing to be in there with this big group.
Well, the group's looking at each other now, deciding who of these women are going to stand on the podium alongside Jess Learmonth. Because of the nature of this course, they wouldn't have even seen her on this bike, barely. There's not a lot of areas that they can catch a glimpse of the back of Jess Learmonth as she hops out of the shoes and comes into transition for the last time. She's going to rack that bike, and she has 1.8 kilometres between herself and another huge win here in the second week of this big September of racing. And out of transition goes your championship leader and your race leader, Jess Learmonth, fresh off a gold in the Tokyo Olympics mixed team relay. She's done just about all there is to do. She's picked up Commonwealth Games medals. She's finished in the top 3 in the World Triathlon Series. She picked up a perfect 30 for 30 at Super League Arena Games Rotterdam, and now she is the one to beat in September.
Taylor Spivey with a brilliant transition, setting that run up. Expect to see Beth Potter, Georgia Taylor Brown. On paper, Beth Potter, Georgia Taylor Brown, Katie Zaferis, the best runners from this group. But you don't give Taylor Spivey a gap like that to start with. And Katie Zaferis is marking her now, leaving Beth, Georgia Taylor Brown and Sophie Corbell on screen with a lot to do. That's a gap.
Yeah, you're right, Macca. There's a gap there. That was a monster transition for them in the front.
Yeah, so the two Americans, let's get the podium predictions. Jess Learmonth, we can all agree, is going to stand on the top, probably. Who out of that chasing group is going to stand on positions 2 and 3? Spivey and Zafiris with the early advantage. There is the quickest runner, Beth Potter. and Georgia Taylor-Brown ahead of her. So it looks to be, there's a little gap between Colwell and Vicky Holland. Who stands on the podium from these women?
Look, the one thing about Super League racing is the strength that's required to run well in this last run. It's one thing to have all the speed in the world, which Beth Potter on screen is the former world record holder for 5,000 on the road. She has all the running speed in the world, but Katie Zaferis is so strong. She's a strength athlete. She's hard to run over the top of. I'm going to go with Katie Zaferis, even though she's not on paper the fastest, getting second with Beth Potter and Georgia Taylor-Brown in there, but it's anybody's race, to be honest.
I think you're definitely. I think Katie with the power and Beth Potter with the efficiency. So, and then Georgia Taylor-Brown, I think that she's going to be up in the mix too. So that's going to be very interesting to see. It's quite a strong course coming over this hill. I think the places will be made on the last run here where they come over that hill and they're really going to put the hammer down.
Well, Learmonth has the short shoot to take.
There you go.
She can cruise around the short shoot. Georgia Taylor-Brown's moved past Katie Zaferis on cue. So basically the moral of the story is don't listen to me.
I think we're going to see an all-Brit podium again, but this time it's going to be Georgia Taylor-Brown ahead of Beth Potter. No offence to Katie Zaferis, she's done the job so many times, but there's so much running quality in that shot right there. It's all America and it's all Great Britain in the top 5, top 6 in fact. Could even be top 7 with Colwell and Holland. 800 metres to the finish line. Jess Learmonth with nothing behind her but fresh air. She's going to take the short shoot now for no reason, but why not? She can.
She can almost knock people out in the 90s.
Take it.
Don't bother about it.
She didn't even take it.
Why do you take it?
How cool is that?
Don't take it if you don't need it.
Yes. Has she forgotten to take the short shoot? Or does she just take it at the back end here and run straight under the arch?
It's just a statement that says I don't need it. Good luck.
I'm going to take the long shoot.
Wow.
You run one more lap.
What a performance. What a racer. 2 weekends in a row, just dominating racing from the front. Looks comfortable.
Yeah, shoulders low. She looks really comfortable.
All right, she's going to take it on the last corner of the race and just wander her way in for a big victory as Taylor-Brown leads from Beth Potter and Zaferis. So there's your podium there. They've run away from Taylor Spivey. And there's Spivey in the background. 6th last week. She's going to be 5th this week, you would think. Rachel Clammer behind her, I think. Rachel's had a great run.
Yeah, that's a great run coming from. She was almost off there on the last leg. So I think Taylor Spivey is here. It's kind of in no man's land. It's going to be interesting to see whether Sophie and Rachel actually managed to latch onto her.
Vicky Holland on Stanford.
Yeah, those two in the back, a shot there that we remember from a sprint finish for a bronze medal in Rio 5 years ago. But Taylor-Brown has that cold as ice look when she's in a good form in the run, and Potter up the hill with the strength of Zaferis behind her.
I think Beth Potter was definitely putting the hurt into Katie there on that section. You could see Katie's face.
Georgia Taylor-Brown running over the top, getting the gap because Beth Potter's so fast on that downhill. So I expected Katie Zaferis to make a move on that climb, use the strength to get that advantage because Beth roared down that downhill on that last lap to split the entire group.
And she just took a look around here at the back just to check to see where the rest of the Brits are. So it's going to be a 1, 2, 3 Great Britain again. Wow.
Potter using her leg speed to break Katie Zaferis. Whether she can get across to Georgia Taylor-Brown. She's got this flat section across to the finish line.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see if Beth Potter at the back there manages to catch her. But it's all about Jess Learmonth here on the front.
It is all about Jess Learmonth, Georgia Taylor-Brown, Beth Potter. The Brits were so dominant last time around, and they're going to do the same thing here with Katie Zaferis, former Super League champion, former world champion in 4th position. But forget all of that, because onto the black carpet comes Jess Learmonth, who has been such a force in the short time she's been with Super League Triathlon. The short shoot is approaching. She takes it right now and wanders across the finishing line. Jess Learmonth, she wins in London. She backs it up a week later in the Olympiapark in Munich. Jess Learmonth is your champion once again and takes the perfect 15 from 15. She is faultless. Taylor-Brown comes in second, has a look around, an all-Brit podium Congratulations to Beth Potter, runs it home, drops Katie Zafiris, and Great Britain are on fire in Super League. Zafiris in fourth, couldn't hold on to the pace of the Brits. Wow, what racing again from Great Britain. Sweeping it so far, denying any other nation a spot on a podium in the first 2 weeks. We're halfway through the season already, and no doubt Jess Learmonth will tell us that she was hurting the whole way. But gee, what a performance. Spivey in 5th, Colwell in 6th, Clammer in 7th, 30 seconds back. Holland, Non-Stanford, and Leonie Perriot, who dropped back during the middle of the racing, but comes back for a top 10 ahead of Yuko Takahashi. What a statement, though, from Jess Learmonth. And what a great run from Beth Potter. Katie Zafiris couldn't match it. There is Annabelle Knoll, the wild card on home soil. Had a great bike TT. And that is Cassandra Beaugrant, who again will be looking for answers as they head into the BOA Endure recovery tent. After that, having burnt all the matches out there. Beautiful weather here. We're so lucky to have in Munich. After the weather forecast was not good, and still coming across the line, some of the rest of the field as we look further back. Takahashi in 11th, Maya Kingma dropped back nearly a minute in the end. In 12th position, Annabelle Knoll, Cassandra Beaugrant, a minute 14. And we're going to head down now to the BOA Endure recovery tent, I think.
And we've got Jess Learmonth here again. We must stop meeting like this. What an unbelievable race, Jess.
I know, I wasn't sure if it'd suit me, to be honest. The TT were just making me a bit apprehensive. I thought, what am I doing? I'm warming up for the bike. I thought, this is so weird. I'm like warming up for a cycle race. Who calls it a cycle race? Anyway, and then yeah, I thought swim, bike, run, I'd probably struggle because of the run. And then I literally just had to hammer the bike and then hope for the best. And yeah, I managed to stay away. I think it was just so technical. The same as London, that it's quite hard to like groups to work and pull through. So when you're on your own, you just like whip round the corners, and you've only got a bit of a hill and then it's descending. So in terms of like actual effort, again, it wasn't too bad. But I tried to save myself a little bit on the TT, because not that I would have liked saying that I'd have gone any better, but I just didn't really want to be first off, because as soon as you dive in, everyone's just on your feet. So, and then I ended up leading anyway. I don't know why, but yeah, it was just mayhem as usual. But yeah.
Jess, you did absolutely unbelievably. Good luck for the next one.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Get a drink. I'm parched. Really thirsty. Right, beverage. Anybody?
All right. There you go, Jess Learmonth giving a unique one once again. So humble after the race, but so dominant during it. And she was all alone. She had Victoria Lopez, who's been strong early in the early running, but soon enough she had run away from them. And about this stage of the race, in the first run, you knew she was going to do the job and put in a further 12 seconds in the second swim. Beth Potter had a great swim, and probably her best race in Super League, you would have thought. Back out onto the bike the second time was Learmonth with 20 seconds up her sleeve. And by the time she came onto the run, it was just practically a victory lap in front of the crowds here in Munich. She took the short chute the second time around and ran across the line around 20 seconds clear from the chasing pack. And once again, an all-British podium with just fantastic effort from the Brits. And here they are, 11 seconds in the end from Taylor Brown, Beth Potter, Katie Zafiris, Taylor Spivey. And so it was all Brits in the top 10. Look at that. 6 Brits in the top 10. Vicky Holland, Non-Stanford, and Leonie Perriot, 51 seconds back, were your top 10 place getters. And wow, fantastic effort. Learmonth, Taylor Brown, and Beth Potter. We're going to head down now to Annie Emerson on the black carpet.
Well, in third place, Beth Potter. Beth, what an incredible race. You were a little bit twitchy at the start, weren't you? A bit nervous, but you must be feeling a whole lot better now.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm not used to bike time trials, so that was definitely something new. But I just thought I need to commit here, get stuck in, and and just try and stay in contention the whole time, so close to the front.
And if anyone says that your swimming is your weak link, talk us through that last swim, because you were right up there.
Yeah, I knew I had to try and get to it. I knew that run was going to be the bit where I had to try and gain some ground. So going into that last swim, I was glad I was on the front of that, and put me in a good position for the bike. So yeah.
In second place, Georgia Taylor-Brown. Georgia, what a race. But perhaps, Georgia, what a race. Perhaps just a little bit off the pace on the TT.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, I just wasn't feeling it today. Some days you have very flat days, and this morning I just woke up very unmotivated, and yeah, I really struggled today, but yeah, I got it done.
You certainly did, and you almost worked yourself into the race, and sometimes that happens at Super League, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Like once the TT was out the way, I think I was sort of in the race then, and kind of started to get into the swing of things, and then yeah, I just tried to hang on to the groups and stuff, and see what I could give it on the run on the last leg. But no, it was really tough.
Were you aware that Beth was closing you down in that final run?
Yeah, I definitely saw her behind, but I wasn't going to let her catch me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, our winner today in Munich, once again. Jess, what a race. You're making this look easy.
It's definitely not easy. And I'm sure I didn't make it look easy, because these lot closed me down in less than 2K. It's rather embarrassing, but I needed that lead, so never mind.
When you talk us when you took the short shoot, because I sort of had my heart in my mouth. I thought you might have gone a bit earlier, but you waited right until the final lap.
Yeah, well, I was coming in on the first lap, and somebody like, take the short shoot, and I thought, oh, I don't know what to do. But then, I just wanted it at the end, I think, just because then I've nearly finished, and I think if I'd have been coming in and they'd have been chasing me down, and then I still had the longer way to go, I think mentally I'd have cracked and probably just walked it in. So I wanted to savour it and use it at the end.
Jess, what are you thinking on the bike when you're ahead?
Oh, it's pretty nothing much really. The course is so short. It's like all you have to do is kind of corner well, smash it up the hill, descend well, corner, and then just do it again. So that's all I was thinking really. Just hammer it. My hardest effort was up the hill, and then that's it. So it's actually not too bad if you corner well, I think. So that's what I tried to do anyway.
Congratulations for your second win in Super League 2021, Jess.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Cheers.
Well, she does it, and she does it well. There are your three podium getters. Podium's a little different these days in COVID land, but Jess Learmonth takes 5 swim points, 3 bike points, 5 run points, so she wins the swim and the run, and the 15 overall. So a 28 out of 30 for Jess Learmonth, and we'll head down now to Kate.
Just unbelievably chilled, all of these athletes. And speaking about unbelievable chill, we've got Macca back, and we've got a current triathlete as well with us, Rich Murray. Rich, what is there to say about Jess Limon? That kind of a dominant win is just unbelievable to watch.
Yeah, no, that was really dominant. I mean, she really went out there to show everyone, how strong she is, and kudos to her, to back it up type of thing from last weekend to this weekend. That is insane.
I feel like we weren't talking about her enough last weekend, and maybe we weren't even talking about her enough this weekend. And what has she got to do to make us just say she is the one to beat?
Well, what she showed is her ability to get stronger and stronger as the race unfolds. She had an amazing opening TT, but her second swim was faster than the first, and that set the whole race up. So she's in unbelievable form, the form athlete to beat in the series, and I don't know how they're going to, unhinge her as the series goes on.
Let's talk a little bit about the short shoot as well, because of course you get a little shortcut in there, something to earn. Victoria Lopez did really well last race to try and get hold of it. She nearly got it today. But the fact that Jess got it meant that it was completely dominant. We'd got her here taking it. She didn't need that thing.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do if you're competing against that?
Yeah, I mean, that must be very demoralizing. I mean, to know that the one you're chasing down, even if you catch her, she'll still be able to take you. So, I mean, wow, she really, really planned that out perfectly. You couldn't have asked for any more, really.
And what about that race for second place? You're talking about how difficult it was to chase after someone winning in such a dominant way, but the real competition was in that second place race.
It was a race for second, third and fourth. You saw Katie Zaferis get across, and Beth Potter, in that first lap of the second run, made her move on the downhill that split the group, and she tried to do that again, but Georgia Taylor-Brown expected that, got the gap before it happened, It was an amazing race for second and third. I think none of us could call it. I called Katie Zaferis, who ended up 4 for the 3, so incredible racing.
1, 2, 3 for GB. Again, it means the Eagles are leading the way massively. How are you feeling about that as a captain?
Oh, the Scorpions are doing okay. George is accumulating a lot of points for us, but the Eagles are just on a fly, right? They're going to be tough to beat. It's now about the men's racing, the points accumulated on the men's side, but on the women's side, they're the form team.
Certainly is a bit of diplomacy there from Macca. We enjoyed that. It is coming up now to the men's race, of course, in the next few minutes or so. Now, of course, these guys, Rich, will have just been hanging around watching that unbelievable race and waiting to go. What's that like for the athletes?
Yeah, so I think, it's very tricky. Should you cool down? Should you, do some more intervals? What should you really do? And I think a lot of the guys will look at the females race and watch them race and kind of get a lot of information from that and maybe try and implement it themselves. You might see another kind of like breakaway, perhaps. Who knows? So it's going to be very interesting to see the guys go through this course. And it's going to be very exciting to watch.
We've just seen the start list for that event. What does that tell you? What are we looking out for here, Macca?
The huge takeaway from that opening TT was where Vincent Louis, Hayden Wilde are in relation to Martin Van Riel. They had really average TT performances, so they're starting way back on the grid. We're expecting to be in the top 3 or 4. They've got a lot of room to make up. Martin Van Riel looks spectacular, fantastic swimmer. I expect him to grab this short shoot and set this entire race up. Will he do a Jess Learmonth? We'll wait and see, but man, he's left Jonathan Brownlee and a lot of them with a lot of work to do.
There was some expectation that Van Riel would make the fastest time trial, though, so he's slightly off what we expected?
Slightly off, but with a big swim, he'd be happy with his position. Vincent Louis, Jonathan Brownlee and Hayden Wilde would be scratching their head and asking themselves what happened, because that was well below the standard we were expecting of all of them.
All right, lovely stuff. Thank you, gentlemen. We're now going to get to the commentary box for the start of the men's.
There we go. Just as we give ourselves a bit of a breather from the women, we get straight into the men's. And Seth Ryder will lead us out. Let's have a look at the equaliser format again. We've had the time trial. It's now into a pursuit start, 300, 3.6, 1.8. And we do that twice. The short shoot awarded for the first person across the mountain line after the opening swim. And there are the points on the right-hand side. Seth Ryder is the man who's going to lead us out. But he was 11 seconds down on the fastest swimmer last week, and that was Matt Hauser. So we could see Matt Hauser come out of the water first. Hayden Wilde a long way down, and Vincent Lewis a long way down. So those two things we really need to look out for. Time for the start of the equaliser. 2 triathlons back to back. 300 metres in the swim, 3.6 Ks on the bike and 1.8 Ks on the run. And Seth Ryder leads us out first. And behind him, Vasco Velasa down as quick as you like. Max Studer as well, Alex Yee and Matty Hauser. And then they come flying down the verge. Look at this, there's Hayden Wilde. And they were a bit tentative when they were doing this yesterday in the warm-up, but there's nothing tentative about that. And into the water they go for the first time as we welcome Chris McCormack and Richard Murray back into the commentary box. And as they always do, they are out fast and furious. And Seth Ryder is leading, and Vasco Velasquez lost his goggles there in second place. That happens to the best of us.
Yeah. Seth Ryder's not a bad swimmer, and Martin Van Riel, who's sitting in third, he's vocally said he wants to grab this short shoot. He was expecting Vincent Louis, Jonathan Brownlee to be a lot closer than what they are, having a swim shootout with them. But Martin Van Riel will move up in this swim and really push to get this short shoot. We saw Jess Learmonth in the women not use it till literally the finishing shoot, but it will come into play and be a big part in this racing. So this is an important swim for all the athletes on stream.
Poor Vasco Velasa, look at that. Last week he was the only guy without a wetsuit on. That was by choice. This is not by choice. He's coping very well considering he's got to side every single stroke. And Seth Ryder's having a good swim.
Matty Hauser on the outside, who's a great swimmer, led out in London last week.
he'll want the short shoot as well. He'll fire it up. The instructions we gave the Scorpions were take every point and take every advantage we can get. So Matt Hauser will really work this swim and really work into this transition.
You see Vincent Louis here as well coming up on the right-hand side. He's also pushed him. He was 10 seconds back. You can probably throw a blanket over them now.
Yeah, how quickly those hard-earned seconds from the TT can evaporate with an average swim. The pace on. And it's still Seth Ryder that leads him out from Balasa. And, yeah, Lewis is there.
What a swim. Johnny Brownlee there in the orange.
I think it's Jonas Schomburg there in the middle.
What a swim by Vincent Louis.
Wow.
He's gone wide on that thing, got open water, moved through the entire field. He knows how important the short shoot is to get. Hayden Wilde's a bit further back than he was last week. He's not going to get the short shoot advantage. And Louis wants this short shoot, so expect an enormous run out of this swim from Vincent Louis.
Yeah, they definitely want to give everything they can to get that short shoot. I mean, if Vince wants to take Hayden the way he did in London, then this is definitely going to, be something he wants to go and try and get.
Vincent's moving up on the outside into field. He's going to lead this out of the water.
Wow, look at this.
He
goes under the
followed
wire.
a 10-second deficit. Ryder on the left.
Vincent Louis hit the front.
He has. Wow. He was 11 seconds in arrears, and he has swum through to hit the front and potentially pick up that short shoot, and he'll know that's a massive advantage.
He's got to calm himself now. He's worked really, really hard over 250 metres to put himself in this position, get the heart rate under control. The short shoot's earned on the bike, mountain line. He'll apply the pressure, but get it under control. Realise we've still got a lot of racing to do.
Is that Taylor Reid in the middle there?
It is. Taylor Reid, great shot too.
Lewis, Taylor Reid and Seth Ryder, who is going to have a better transition here and pick up that short shoot. Reid can deny Vincent Lewis, and he will not want that. It's got to be between these two men. Lewis has the advantage of picking that bike up early. Reid is going to get him. No. Lewis is going to come out, is he? They sprint towards the line, and Vincent Lewis gets the short shoot.
And he's run all the way around, as you said, Rich, in the women's race, all the way to mount his bike after that turn, which is a much faster way of transitioning.
Yeah, that definitely helps you to be able to get round the corner quicker. And, yeah, you don't obviously have to slow yourself down.
The only man that did that, and at the moment, there's two of them at the front. It's Taylor Reid and Vincent Lewis.
And all things are normal in Super League racing again when Vincent Louis is on the front and applying pressure early. He loves this course. This is a course that's built for Vincent Louis. The tight turns, he can rail them, hit them fast, put a lot of the athletes who are chasing under duress, make them take risks they necessarily don't want to take.
So out of that swim, Hayden Wilde was 11 seconds in arrears. Jonathan Brownlee was 10 seconds. Alex Yee, 13 seconds. Mario Mola, 17 seconds. Jake Birtwistle, 18. Marco van der Stel at the back of the pack, 22 seconds back. And it's time for Vincent Lewis to head up the hill for the first time, up the cobblestones, and start applying that pressure. Reid in second. Ryder in third. Balasa.
Hauser, Van Riel.
Johnny Brownlee just off the back there. They're going to try and get onto the back of Martin van der Riel's wheel here. And where is Hayden Wilde? There's Hayden Wilde coming through.
Sacha Shagiv, who had a great race to 8th last week, the Israeli, on his Super League debut. Yannick Schaffler was there as well. He's on home turf here in Munich.
Oh, it's fast. They're taking some chances. That descent, the screen doesn't do it justice. It's a very, very steep descent into a sweeping left-hander. Every time you go around it, you sort of close your eyes and grit your teeth, and they are roaring around it in big groups. Vincent taking a little bit of a rest now, sitting off the back. Second wheel.
Yeah, again with the bars, Vasco Velasquez just does things his own way, doesn't he? He's got them on, and all good if you're at the front, which he is at the moment, leading a train of just about the entire field. A couple of people have been gapped, but we're not going to see another Jess Learmonth effort. Not if Vasco Velasquez has anything to do with it. Not going to let Vincent Lewis get away at the front.
He looks
so
great,
16 men.
Vasco looks great on the bike. He's comfortable on the front. He likes those bars. He's happy to move to the front, do his share of work. He did that in London. You see him there sharing it with Vincent Lewis. Sitting on the front, happy to be there, and will push and push and push. And they're the type of riders you want in that front group. People that are prepared to share the work. The last thing you need is a tourist who's sitting at the back, resting those legs to unleash an enormous run.
It's very interesting, actually. Max Struder here, I think he was actually the leader of the time trial, and he's here actually off. So very interesting to see Emily Murray and both Max Struder struggling here after the first round.
So Vasco Velasa and Vincent Lewis, if you remember, when Vince won the World Championship, Vasco was second, and here they are again, 1 and 2 at the front of a race. There's Matt Hauser muscling up the hill with Alessandro Fabian behind him. Fabian came in late to the series and had a great one in London as well. Finished well inside the top 10. You can see there the elevation difference between the top of the hill there and at the back of your screen was transition. It just, it doesn't do it justice.
This corner here is the tough one.
Hill.
That corner there is tight off that descent. And Vasco Velasa going in, he ran 5 bar, which is about, 90, 100 PSI in his tyres because of the cobbles in that corner. So he's a lighter guy running about 60 kilos, but running softer tyres today and wider tyres because of the cobble and because of that technical left-hander.
And I think Vince...
There is Vince.
I think also Hayden Wilde just got up into the back here, so they just got onto them on that climb, which is good. So Hayden's kind of going to move his way through the group here, probably, as you see through this last lap on the bike.
That first swim from Vincent Lewis was a 3:38, which was 4 seconds faster than Jess Learmonth swam in the second.
That's it.
Which just shows you how fast she is in the water. Wow.
And
4 seconds quicker.
He swam through the entire field to get to the front. Unbelievable. Jess Learmonth, wow.
Yep. 1:13 pace it was.
They don't have the time they're running down from the top down into the water, though, included in that swim time.
I don't know. Martin Van Riel sitting 30s, tacking off the back of Vincent Lewis. And Johnny Brownlee there. Man, this is the class of Super League racing. These first 6 here are pure talent. They're the ones that are usually shooting out. Hayden Wilde moving up at the back. He's done a lot of work after a poor TT. You see him moving around there, Hayden Wilde.
Reed looks like he's having a struggle up the back. You can see him disappearing off the left-hand side of your screens as the pace is on across the top of the hill. You see the seats at the below there at the Olympic Stadium, and down the hill they go into this sweeping left again. And there is Jonas Schomburg trying to close that little mini gap he's got ahead of him. Between him and Kenji Nina in 6th position as Ryder takes his turn on the front, with Lewis off his shoulder and now hitting the front as well, already pulling his feet out of the shoes and across the dismount line.
And this is the Vincent Louis of old. We talked about it last week in London. He just didn't seem to have that aggressive racing in London. Hayden Wilde took up a lot of the action, but Vincent has been purposefully on the front of everything. His transitions have been on point. He's racked the bike, fixed his helmet prior to everyone else doing that. It's the thinking Lewis that's back here.
You people had some trouble there finding where they were racked, and after all of that, Johnny Brownlee comes out first from Ryder, Lewis. I can see Kenji Nina and Martin Van Riel are your top 5, but Johnny Brownlee leads. He's seen an all-British women's podium, and he wants to better the 3rd place he had from last week.
Johnny looks great.
Lewis in 2nd.
Johnny
Seth Ryder again strong.
Yeah.
Again.
Hayden Wilde just on the outside there as well, so he also had a good transition.
Hayden a great transition, but Johnny gets to the front. He gets that look about him. His rhythm gets bouncing. He looks the Johnny Brownlee of old. He had a great race in London. He's forceful. He's making Vince work to get up to him. He's not just giving that distance back.
Yeah, you're right, Johnny. Johnny really does look like he's in form. I think you hit the nail on the head there. He's definitely looking more in control, looking lean. And Vince is going to push just to get up onto the back of him here, and this is going to be a tight one, really.
Cream really coming to the top now. Brownlee, Lewis, Wilde, all in your top 4, and joined by the man who, missed last week, Martin Van Riel. And I think everyone's podium predictions basically drew from these 4 men. And Nina again tacks himself to the back with Velasa.
And Yee will use his leg speed on this downhill to move himself up. He's the fastest runner on paper, and he's had a great transition and move through.
Yeah, this is great to see everybody together. This is really, as you said, the cream of the crop here. When you hit it right there. Yee is coming up here. You can see he's going to take 1 or 2 spots here on this corner going up on the inside. And
Eagles just disappearing into the distance on that points table, but Macca's Scorpions have cracked over the 100 points.
Triple digits.
Brownlee, Lewis, Wilde, Yee, Van Riel. There's Aaron Royal leading a little group with the 2 Germans behind him in Schomburg and Henselet. Studer's back there, hanging on. But how often have we seen these faces at the front of races in the past decade or so?
And they're all looking very, very comfortable. This group of 6 are away, contrasted to the runners behind. The grimaces, they all look comfortable. It's hard to pick if anyone's struggling in this group. They look very, very easy.
yeah, I think Hayden Wilde knows that he doesn't have the short shoot this weekend, and he's going to have to do something special if he wants to take this one.
Yeah, he goes to the front. He's going to push this lap. He needs to push this lap. He's the weakest swimmer in this group. You've got Johnny Brownlee, Vincent Louis, and Martin Van Riel are exceptional swimmers. Hayden Wilde and Yee of that group are the weaker.
And Yee to the front from the back. Wow.
This has really got the feeling of something special coming up over the next swim, bike and run. Alex Yee off a gold and silver medal in the Olympics. Johnny Brownlee picked up a gold medal. Vincent Lewis had so much riding on him in terms of expectation and didn't get the job done in Edmonton, didn't get the job done in Tokyo. He's battling injuries in the run. He's running pain-free now, and he's back to his old self again with a point to prove. Hayden Wilde was your Olympic individual bronze medalist. Martin Van Riel finished
now they're
fourth
struggling.
in the Olympics.
Look at Van Riel, the gap. Yee is applying the pressure, and Van Riel is the one who's struggling. The group of 4 starting to get that bungee cord is starting to break.
Yeah, and you can see Vasco at the back here putting his swim cap and goggles on. Also Hayden Wilde, you're busy getting ready on this downhill. This is definitely the time you want to try and get your swim stuff on.
Well, Vasco did his last swim without his goggles. He's prepared now, though. Look at him.
He does not want to swim another leg without
meters early. This time he's not gonna have a problem.
Should have just
as Alex
cycled him on.
comes down the hill in that beautiful running style that he's got, and they are hammering it. Brownlee back in third now, Wild with that on, and yeah, you can see Martin Van Riel is really digging deep. Kenji Nina looking to hold on to this back of the group of 6.
Yeah, I think Martin Van Riel, after having COVID, for him still to be in there actually in this part is quite an achievement in itself, really.
Yeah, Vincent looks comfortable. Alex does what he loves to do. He slowly build that run pace as that run unfolds, and suddenly you find yourself dangling off the back and you're in danger of being dropped. Going into this second swim, which is the critical swim. This is where Jess Learmonth decimated the women's field.
Yeah, this could be the make or break part of the males race here from the swim, I think.
Van Riel has a big swim. If anyone can swim up, it's Van Riel, but he has some work to do.
Oh, no.
He's forgotten to take his shoes off.
Alex Yee's gone too far.
So
all that work has been undone, and he's going to be 4th into the swim, I think, yes. Lewis will lead into the water as he did at this point of the racing last week in the triple mix. Second swim, he was in first. Brownlee, Wild, Yee, and there is the 2 rhinos of Nina and Van Riel at the back. Down goes Wild.
He went to the right as he came down to avoid the stairs and then tried to correct that. Come across and slipped.
Didn't cost him much. He's still luckily there on the feet of Alex, and this man in front, Vincent Louis, he's going to be the one you don't want to lose his feet.
Look, the thing with Hayden Wilde, with Alex Yee sitting in third, he has to hold the feet of Johnny Brownlee. Vincent Louis will know that. Johnny will not let Vincent Louis swim away, but can they break Yee? And if Yee loses the feet, that'll take Hayden Wilde with him. Martin Van Riel will have to swim around both those athletes to move up if he can, and maybe he's the safety net to keep them in the action. But Vincent will swim this flat out like Jess Learmonth did Johnny Brownlee will not let those feet go at all.
So disappointed I didn't say the Falcon has landed, and there it is.
You got the opportunity.
He landed right there. Oh, I'm filled with regret. So is Hayden Wilde as he gets into the water, and he really needs to find those feet as Vincent Lewis is looking to turn the screws as they round the buoy.
I think you might be right about you with Martin Van Riel coming up from the outside, and he might be able to save him from getting dropped. But it looks like Alex Yee is doing a pretty good job. I mean, it goes to show that if you don't have the fighting and that stuff, some of the guys that are slightly weak on paper swimmers can actually hold their best.
Vincent really works out of the swim turns off those buoys. He gets the 6-beat kick going. He hopes to make the break there, but Alex has covered Johnny Brownlee, who's just sitting perfect. That's the best spot to be, right on Vincent Louis' feet, if you can stay there. But it is the best spot to be.
Yeah, you see a few meters opening up just behind you.
Yeah, there's the gap now. We'll start to slowly break. Vincent will come off this swim buoy again, bring the 6-beat kick in, accelerate, and suddenly that break happens, and Alex has lost that drag from Johnny Brownlee.
And that's all they need. They literally just need a few meters, and that equates to a lot more when they get out the water onto the bike.
Yeah, you're looking at about 20%
Will we
sitting
see
on the
this
feet.
again? Mac, if you remember Majorca and the short shoot breaking Johnny Brownlee's dreams, well, Vincent has got it in his back pocket again. Can Johnny Brownlee find something to stay with Vincent Lewis, knowing that Vince has that maybe 5-second advantage?
We saw this in London last week. If you remember, both these athletes on screen got the break on Hayden Wilde. On that last bike ride, Hayden was able to bridge across to both of them working. This course is a lot more difficult. I think both Johnny Brownlee and Vincent Louis will love this course. They'll have quick transitions, be able to work that climb and put Hayden Wilde under a lot of pressure to close the gap. Vasco Velasco will chase with his aero bars, you know that. You've got Martin Van Riel there to chase. But the gap is starting to open up. Once that elastic band broke and it was mano a mano, Alex Yee versus Vincent Louis.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing, as if you're not a top swimmer, to hang on for maybe the first half of the swim, you can do it, but the second half is really where it shows your skills in the swim side. And you can see Vincent, sometimes they obviously accelerate harder in the second half than the first half, but to kind of break things up and try and keep things fresh.
All right, we're going to head down now to Annie Emerson, who's with Taylor Reid.
Taylor, real disappointment after fighting for that short shoot with Vincent Louis. What happened?
I'm absolutely gutted today. I got eliminated last week, and I said I'd never want to feel that again. And to get that again just really, really hurts. And I'm so gutted. But I knew coming into this, I've been battling with a bit of sickness all week. Yeah, I don't want to make any excuses, but I wasn't 100%. But I wanted to do my best for the team, and I knew if I just gave it everything, I knew I could get some points in the swim. And I really wanted to take out that first in the swim, and then cancel also the short shoot from having another team like Vincent Louis. So my other teammates like Hayden and Vasco would also have an advantage, and I absolutely gave it everything for that swim. Unfortunately, Vince was just too quick getting his helmet on because I sprinted up the hill, and then after that I was just absolutely maxed. I got on the boys' wheel and I was just absolutely 100%. I could barely breathe, and I'm not such a bad bike rider usually, but I couldn't even hold the wheel today, and I was just empty after a lap on the bike. And unfortunately, this is Super League, you can't be 1% off because you're going to get absolutely smoked.
Exactly that. It is Super League. Don't cool down. You've always got next week.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, Taylor Reid in the Boa Enduro recovery tent, and it's so good to hear how much they're involved in the team's element of it. Taylor Reid giving it all, trying to take that short shoot away and bring the points from that man on screen, but he was too quick, too precise, and now it's a race in two between Brownlee and Lewis. Both former world champions.
And Alex Yee under pressure here off the back of that group of four, especially with Martin Van Riel on the front of the chase. Alex Yee will struggle to get on. He needs to work this climb to get on, but these two on screen, they are well-oiled machines. Johnny Brownlee, Vincent Louis, they'll share the workload. They know how important this bike ride is to set themselves up.
Martin Van Riel, not even in his shoes. He didn't even have time. He's just riding up the cobbles here, not even in the shoes. That's a brave one to do.
Alex Yee needs to get onto the back of Hayden Wilde. This is the most important climb of the race for Alex Yee.
Just to give you an idea of how quick that run was, Alex Yee ran a 2:39 pace on that 1.8 kilometre run. So 4:55 for 1.8 Ks. which is absolutely ridiculous, with Hayden Wilde running at 240 pace, Velasa and Lewis 241, Brownlee languishing at 242 pace. And there they are, the two men in the lead, and here is the chasing pack, and Wilde's off the back there, and he really looks like he's putting it in. Velasa drops back down into the bar.
Got on. Great climb by Alex G. Great ride.
Great crowd. Great having a big crowd here as well, the guys cheering, hitting the board, and it looks like they're a couple of seconds, probably 5, 6 seconds type of thing just behind them. So, yeah, they're definitely still in the action.
They are. It was actually, I think, 9 seconds first time around. I think it's less than that now. Working together, Velasa on the front.
Vasco is such a good teammate for Hayden Wilde. He has no fear in going to the front. He sits there, he works hard, he pedals well, he does his climb very well. And you see, every time we go through transition, with Vasco Velasa on the front, Alex G finds those accelerations very, very difficult and leaves a gap and has to use that hill to get back on.
Yeah, it is interesting. They must have had a team tactic here to make sure that Vasco does some work for Hayden. It'd be quite interesting to hear about that after the race.
Kenji Nina is having a great race too. He ended up getting eliminated last week after being strong early. Well, he hasn't dropped the ball at all this time. Of course, grew up in Australia, races for Japan now. Had a breakthrough year. He found himself in Karlovy T2 with Vince, and then had a crash in that tunnel, and that's this weekend. Last year, he was 14th behind Vincent Lewis in Tokyo as well, and now he's sitting there in the top 7 in Super League. But everyone is behind Vincent Lewis and Johnny Brownlee, who we know have both been mainstays of Super League since its inception, and they're showing their experience and class here on the bike.
Yeah, it looks like Vince definitely has things dialed in here. He definitely had the swim. The swim really, really made the race here today for the guys. And the short shoot is going to be the icing on the cake, maybe.
You can see the wider tyre choice from Vincent Lewis. They were all looking at those cobbles yesterday, trying to determine which tyres they'd choose. It's almost a gravel bike.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have a wider tyre. It doesn't get stuck in between some of the sections of the pavé or the cobbles. And yeah, definitely helps. He can run lower tyre pressures as well. And yeah, I think you can see Vincent Louis going back, checking with Johnny, checking how big the gap is there and how hard they need to push for this next lap.
The gap is 8 seconds. It was at the last lap. Now it's 13 seconds. So working together, Lewis and Brownlee, and Johnny will know that his old sparring partner has got the short shoot, and he needs to make a move at some point if he has any gas in the tank. Velasa on the front of this group of 5 chasing. Nina, Yi, Van Riel and Wilde. And then...
he's got a flat.
3 seconds back. Who's got a flat?
He put his hand out, Martin Van Riel, as if something was going on, or he's frustrated with the pursuit. No one's taking up the racing. Hayden Wilde is either being very, very cagey, saving for a big run, and let both Jonathan Brownlee and Vincent Louis just said the race is over up front, because it's not like Hayden Wilde to not do work on the front. Vasco has not got off the front of this bike. It's either a team tactic for Hayden's big run or Hayden struggling. One of the two, because Martin Van Riel looked frustrated. He put his hand up. What's going on here? We're losing time. But not doing anything about it.
Yeah, that's a tricky situation to be in. I think Hayden's trying to come around the outside here, but it looks like Martin might be kind of giving him a bit of the block. But yeah, I think it's you can see he's upset. Not sure what it's about though.
Well, you can see some big names down there. 15th, Hauser. 16th, the 2 Aussies there. Jake Birtwistle, Mario Mola as well off the pace as well. Jonas Schomburg. There's some big names who've figured in big races in Super League before. But now it's a foot race between Johnny Brownlee and Vincent Lewis. 1.8 kilometres to go. This transition incredibly important. And they're going to come out with Brownlee first and Lewis second. And we've seen this before. Lewis, of course, has the short shoot. He has the option to take it in the first or the second lap.
Like you said, flashbacks to Mallorca. Johnny Brownlee going straight to the front. He has to apply the pressure. Does not have the luxury of sitting in. With Vincent Louis with a short shoot, Johnny has to put the boot in and get that margin of error that makes up for that 2-second advantage that the short shoot brings.
You can almost see into the future, can't you? And you can see the short shoot being taken right at the end. And Vincent Lewis knows it. Yee and Wilde at the front now on this run. Maybe it was team tactics. Wilde's had a good transition.
Yeah.
And Velasquez dropped off the back after doing all the work he can for Hayden Wilde.
Yep, definitely a team tactic. Velasquez did not get off the front of that group. And Hayden looking better on the run than he did on the bike. So
yeah, it's going to be Alex versus Hayden and Johnny versus Vince. So hopefully...
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, Mitch. I love it. I love it at the front. I love this, and I love Vasco Velasquez for delivering it to us in Yee versus Wilde as well.
I think Johnny knows he's got to go. If he wants to win, he's got to go sometime.
It's still a long way. 1.8 kilometres doesn't sound far, but when you're running at 240 per K pace on a hilly, bumpy course like this, you are all in. Johnny trying to...
I don't know, Macca, have you ever run a 240k pace?
Not for about 20 years, Will.
Well, at least you've done it before.
I think Johnny might be in some trouble here. What do you think about that, Will? Do you reckon Johnny's got it?
Oh, I think Johnny knows that there's a short shoot available, and I think they both do. He needs to go at some point.
He still looks controlled. He doesn't look under pressure. He looks controlled. Vincent Louis would be the greatest poker player you'd ever play a game with. He doesn't show anything. But Johnny, mate, will have to make a move at the end of this first lap. Vincent knows he just needs to stick, has the short shoot, and it's game over. Well, does he take it early, establish the break, and go then? What would you do, Rich? You've been in this position.
Yeah, I think I'd probably do the same like Hayden did last week and kind of wait until the last leg, let Johnny go, make it a good show. People want the show. Come on, let Johnny go a little bit, Vince. And then just give us, just take it from the short shoot and do it on the line.
In what way should we break Johnny Brownlee's heart? That's what Vince is thinking.
Yeah. He's on the inside. He could take the shoot. He could take the short shoot now, Vincent. I wouldn't.
He won't. He won't. He won't. No, he won't. No, he'll do it on the line. That's what we all want to see. All right, Johnny, it's up to you. You've got to put 5 seconds into Vincent Lewis in the next 750 metres.
It must plague you. It must plague you as Johnny Brownlee, knowing that I've got to break probably the greatest finisher in triathlon in the world at the moment in Vincent Louis, and he has a short shoot to take.
The question is, when is Johnny going to go? He's going to have to go at some point.
He has to go.
There's going to be a moment in time where he goes, I better go.
And he can't go too early.
Is it the hill?
I think it's on the hill, but he wants to start from behind Vince, not in front. Because it's difficult to sprint. If you see someone accelerating, you respond to it immediately. So maybe you should do a quick brake check and then just go for it.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to run Vincent Louis off the back of you. You have to hit him by surprise, get a gap, and then engage in that attack.
Here they go up the hill, up the cobblestones, and I'm not sure whether Johnny has it in the tank to put anything into Vincent Lewis. They are both hammering away. Yee and Wilde are doing the same for the other spot on the podium.
You can almost see the smile in Vincent Louis' face. He knows he's got over that climb. We've got a downhill to run. Johnny hasn't.
At the end of this, even if Hayden Wilde picks up third position, Vincent Lewis will head to Jersey as your championship leader if he can win this race. So he was second behind Wilde. If he can put Johnny Brownlee between them in this one, Vincent Lewis will be the championship leader as they come around the back end of the course for the last time. And Johnny Brownlee is looking behind him.
Yeah, he had a glance.
He needs to be looking in front.
Now Vincent's in control. He's winding this up.
Yeah, he's starting to put in the pace here. It's a real Vincent Louis thing to do. He starts to kick the last 200 meters, and I think
he's got Wilde behind him.
Yeah, he's gone, Alex.
There you go. Alex Yee will take third position ahead of Hayden Wilde. And it is all about Vincent Lewis and Johnny Brownlee. And onto the black carpet they come for the last time. He looks behind.
He knows he has it.
He says, see you later. See you later. And running to the victory again is Vincent Lewis. He will wear the pink again as he heads to Jersey. The Frenchman does the job thanks to the short shoot. Brownlee second. And the stars have aligned again for Vincent Lewis. No love lost between those two. They've duked it out many a time. Alex Yee comes across in third. Supreme run from him.
The Falcon flies home to 4th position. What a race again the men's delivers.
Vasco
At
Velasa.
the end between Velasa and Kenji Nina running down Wilde, who looks like he's been injured in that.
I think Velasa came through there to a sprint finish right at the end. They almost might have got them on the line, but I think he might have run into Hayden by accident.
Wilde's knee?
Yeah, Mark Van Riel.
Rubbing his knee there.
7th.
I think he's all right, though.
A good race from Martin Van Riel.
Oh, dear. You don't want to be knocked over at the end. Here it is. Let's have a look at the impact. Didn't see him hit, but then he collapsed, and that's never a good sign. It's never a good sign. We'll keep you updated on that. He's reaching down, but he's up and walking. Hayden Wilde. Kenji Nina, a great race in the end, to finish 6th. Martin Van Riel dropped off 15 seconds to finish in 7th, and Hauser finished strong. From Satchar Sagiv, Max Studer, Jonas Schomburg, Simon Henselet, and Jake Birtwistle. Seth Ryder dropped back in the end to nearly the 90-second mark, as did Aaron Royal. Mario Mola finishes over 90 seconds back.
Big racing.
What a race.
Johnny Brownlee is back. Big performance in London. Great race there. He's asking himself, how do I grab one of those short shoots? He's been on the receiving end of a short shoot in Mallorca. He's been on the receiving end again here.
He has indeed. We're going to head down to the black carpet, and your winner and now championship leader, Vincent Lewis.
Yeah, we've got him here. Vince, congratulations. What a race. You must have had a pretty big smile on your face as you came down to take that short shoot.
Yeah. Well, I had to really dig deep on the swim to pass over everyone and grab the short shoot. So I was pretty empty when it came to the last bike and run. And thankfully I had Johnny with me and he could help. And I wanted really to keep him with me because I want to put people between Hayden and me, as he won the first stage and I was second, so it's still a few points. So yeah, I'm happy. My plan worked really well, and second was good in London, but first is a lot better.
Yeah, I've heard that. So what do you say about people thinking, I'm not sure about that shortcut because it means we were deprived of that absolute sprint finish?
Yeah. I still had a kick. I know I could kick, and to be honest, I haven't thought about not taking it and doing like a fair sprint with Johnny, but he was pretty strong on the run. He tried a few times and I had to hang on, and no, it was really, really hard. And as I said, I had to dig really deep for the short shoot to grab it, so I didn't want to waste the effort that I did in the swim.
That would have been pretty flat. Vince, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you. See you in a week.
Wow, imagine that. Not taking it, but in the end, he worked very hard to do so. And it was a really interesting race, this one. He came out first. He stole that short shoot from Taylor Reid and just asserted his dominance throughout. Johnny Brownlee was strong on the run. There was a group of 7. Kenji Nina was hanging on the back. Alex Yee made a mistake, and that cost him. He put a lot in on that run. Hayden Wilde hit the deck as they went in on the second swim. But Vincent Lewis, as he did, just started turning the screws, and Johnny Brownlee, the only man with the experience and the gas to go with him. He tried a couple of times, as you heard there from Vincent Lewis, but he knew he had it in the back pocket. And as we keep saying, all is right with the world when Vincent Lewis lifts the yellow tape of Super League Triathlon, and he did that once again. And congratulations to him. And here is how it all shook out in the end. 5 seconds, and it was Alex Yee who ran away from Hayden Wilde. So Wilde drops off the top of the championship standings. Vasco Velasa had a great race, as did Kenji Nina. They came rocketing across the line together. Martin Van Riel returns from COVID, if you don't mind, to finish 7th overall. The Belgian Matt Hauser recovered to finish just more than a minute down from Satchar Sagiv, who adds another top 10 to his debut, 8th last week, with Max Studer finishing a minute 12 back. So 75 seconds across the top 10 just shows you how tight it was at the front of the field and how fast it was between Vincent Lewis and Johnny Brownlee as well. What racing it was here at the Olympiapark in Munich. It's been fantastic. We're going to head down now and get our top 3 interviews from Annie Emerson.
Any minute now.
Alex Yee, 3rd place. How does that feel?
Yeah, I'm happy. For me, this is all like growing experience and just practicing my racecraft, I think, for with these great guys. It's just not a great opportunity, 4 weeks back to back, and I progressed from last week in London, which I'm really pleased about. I'm still making so many mistakes in the races, but I'm glad I could prove that I'm not just a runner that can run or swim and bike.
Definitely not just a runner. You fought really hard in that last swim to hold your position, which I guess counted, for the end result.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I still got swum off the feet and stuff like that, and I made a mistake where I really wanted to get in the water first, and that could have given me an opportunity to be closer to the front and maybe fight for a higher place. But this is all learning, and these two guys are amazing today, and I'm just happy to be here and the sun's shining. And yeah, it's been good.
You were amazing too, Alex. Congratulations.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Johnny Brownlee in second place. Johnny, I bet you don't like the short shoot today, do you?
No, not today. Or last week, to be honest with you. But it's one of those, isn't it, that if you don't get it, you think it wrecks the racing. If you do get it, then you're the happiest guy in the world. So, it swings round and round. But hopefully I get it sometime.
I tell you what, you looked super consistent, and you've backed up last week's result with a better result here. Second, third last week, second here. It's going pretty well.
Yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that. I felt really, really good. The first swim was actually more of a fight than a normal swim. Vince did a really good job of getting the short shoot from that. And then we rode well, and then the first run I thought it split up, but then I was surprised in that second swim how much it split up. I didn't think I had a lead at all, and then I thought, right, let's just go for it. That's my card to just split it up even more.
Thoughts going through your head on that last run, what were they? Did you think you could break Vince at any point?
And to be honest with you, I knew that with the short shoot he was going to beat me, but I thought we'd kind of have a race of it to see who would have been the fastest if he wasn't there, and he kind of wanted that as well, and we didn't decide. So no, I really enjoyed the battle. He's a brilliant athlete, and to be competitive with him again is just what I dream of, so that's amazing.
Congratulations on your second place finish.
Thank you. Cheers.
And our winner here today in Munich, back on top. Vincent Louis, how does that feel?
It feels really hard on the body. I'm really sore right now. Johnny made it super, super hard. I think he's really, really back on his A game. And I'm really glad I had the short shoot. I had to dig really deep on the first swim. Honestly, I thought my race was done after this first swim, but I had the short shoot. So basically, I had to manage to get to the finish line close to the lead, and I knew it would be the little buffer that I needed.
Tactically, you were very astute, weren't you? Because you nearly lost that short shoot to Reed.
Yeah. I was like, I need to get it, or someone else than, no Hayden, no Alex, or no Johnny, someone else. So I was like, if it's Taylor, it's okay. But I saw I could get it, so I was just running all out to get it. And after, I was actually really tired on the first run, and Alex made it pretty hard. And then I was lucky that I had a good transition, dove in the water first, and I went all out. And on the bike, we were collaborating with Johnny, and I just had to control him on the run. But that was tough. He knew I had the short shoot, and he just wanted to drop me before that finish line.
Oh, well, congratulations. Great to see you back on top, Vince.
Yes, thank you. See you in a week.
Well, there they are, the three of the quickest men in triathlon, and they're all smiles now, but they were doing battle not too long ago, and I can't believe how composed they all look. Vincent Louis does the job again. He's our championship leader. We're going to head down now to the black carpet, and Kate's going to pick it up.
Certainly are. Right, we're here with the gents again because we want to just quickly wrap up on two very different races, Rich. Last word then on Jess Learmonth, and a brilliant performance for her.
Wow, yeah, that was extremely dominant. I think that's one of the biggest win margins we've had in Super League in a long, long time. And it was amazing to see how she got the short shoot as well. So she had that in the pocket. I mean, what more could you ask for? It was a dominant performance. Amazing to see. This course really, really did suit her.
It was a gorgeous course, wasn't it, Macca? And talk about the short shoot as well. In the end, it nicked Vance Louis away from Johnny Brownlee.
Johnny, you could see Johnny knew the short shoot was in play. He tried a few times to make the move. It's a flashback to the Mallorca race. Exactly the same thing happened, except in reverse. Johnny had the short shoot. But, wow, what a performance. What a race. Those two athletes, the former athletes of the day. Vincent Louis' swim to make up from that bike deficit is one of the greatest swims I've ever seen in a triathlon. So,
having a little look at the team leaderboard as well. Still, the Eagles are way ahead in the front of the field. It's looking pretty strong going into Jersey. What's your prediction going into there? Do you think Jess and Vince are the guys to beat very quickly?
Well, I think Vince is the form athlete. He's back to the Vincent Louis of old. We saw him in London. He just looked a bit tentative. He's definitely back to that forceful Vincent Louis. definitely the man to beat.
All right, lovely stuff, gents. Thanks so much for being with me. Come back and join us for the Enduro in Jersey. We'll be there. We'll see you on Saturday.